Oh, what glory.
Good evening, welcome to the Cricket Show. All our grand finals have been run and won. Unfortunately, we had the juniors washed out, which was very disappointing. But we had a great grand final weekend last weekend. And joining me at the desk to discuss everything, David Bogue. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Reece. Thanks for having me for the last time.
That's all right. We've got a few things on set tonight, bit of show and tell.
Bit of show and tell. Kids at school have show and tell, so I thought I'd bring a few things in. So I've mentioned the Gindie Ploughboys trophy before, so that was one of my favourite trophies. Don Talon Award, so we'll talk about that later on, and I'll give you my predictions if that's all right. I've done my little points tally. A couple of new rocks there that I've never bowled with. You've used the new rocks a few times. Bulls Masters cap, so the Bulls Masters, that was a big part of the season. And yeah, I brought Ollie's helmet in and only noticed as I was bringing it out, there's a white mark from when Paul Jagger got him in the Big Bash. And Ollie's mum wasn't too happy, wanted to know who was bouncing him and what his name was, but I said it's cool. He had a helmet on. So, and that little trophy there, I only found that today, and it's a bit of a concept that El Presidente might have a look at. It's a different concept called single wicket tournament, and I might run it by Matt soon and see what he says if he's open to ideas.
All right. Always. Strap yourself in, that could be interesting. So also joining us at the desk, Bundaberg Cricket Association President Matt Fleming. Welcome back, Matt.
Cheers, boys. Pleasure to be here.
We had you in before Christmas, and we've got you in at the end of the season just to have a bit of a chat about how the season's gone and what planning's in progress for the off-season, and looking forward to 23-24 if we can work that far ahead.
Well, hopefully we can have a rest first.
He's looking fresh. You don't need a rest, mate. A few more weeks of cricket, he'd be right.
Just been to the Cairo, that's why.
So I guess first we did have the disappointing junior finals washed out, along with the senior semi-finals. But I guess it was a bit of a reward to those sides that were probably the best sides week in, week out all year, that got rewarded with North's Avengers finishing top in under 12s, and the North Bundy Bears in 14s, and YMCA ISIS in the under 16 comps. So well done to those guys for...
Yeah, it's a fair spread of the clubs, and then in the seniors we've got YMCA, Magpies and Brothers. So I think from a non-biased opinion, it's good to have a lot of clubs. You don't want some clubs dominating for a few years like has happened in the past. So to see a range of clubs winning premierships, it's very pleasing to see, to be honest. Yeah.
So no, as we said, it was a bit of a disappointing day, and then even with those senior semis, that it is a bad way to end this year. But I think ultimately in all of the grades, we had the best two teams in and out, did play in the grand finals, and we'll have a chat about those grand finals later on in the show. But from the weekend, any highlights? We usually do our weekend highlight segment.
Couple of hundred highlights.
Couple of hundred highlights.
No, it was a good weekend. Well, from a selfish point of view for the Brothers boys, to win a premiership, a little bit different for me this time around, instead of being captain and having my son in the team. So it was a highlight. I didn't do too much. I took a couple of fluky catches, but just to, show a bit of maturity and try and help the boys around the field. And, Mitchie Parsons did a really good job. Probably didn't need me giving any advice, but it was a good team effort. I didn't get any runs. I took a couple of catches, and, a few of the blokes took a few wickets, catches, runs. So everybody contributed, and in a grand final, that's what you need. You need your 12 blokes on the field to do something, and they all did. And probably a credit to Cross the Waves, to be honest. Chris Duff spoke really well after the game. He would have been hurting a lot because there's a fair bit of pressure on him at batting at number 9. And he came in. I was really worried because I know Mitch Waters and Chris Duff can just grind it out. So, Chris Duff spoke really well after the game and actually gave a shout out to a couple of us. So I thought that was very humble, and probably shows why he's captain of the club. And the only thing I can knock Duffy for is I reckon he should be batting up the order a little bit, but he's a very humble person, not a selfish human being, and he puts himself down and promotes the other guys up. So, I won't go on about any more highlights, but it was a really, really good weekend.
Yep. Matt, yourself, what?
Mine personally, and probably from the BCA point of view, is just the whole day and whole night in general. I think to see the spread of teams that won the games, that all the games were very competitive, even though the lower divisions, the scores might not have been as high, but they all grounded out, and it got down to, like last over or second last over. And then to see even in the Brothers and Waves Div 1 game, like Brothers were in a bit of trouble, and to see young Ollie just put his head down, play good cricket shots, and get the guys to a good competitive score of 200. And then you take a couple of early wickets, put the pressure on, and that's what happens in cricket. And guys don't want to grind. And the perfect example was a 19-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid who just ground out 16, is he? I'm sorry. There you go, giving him a bit of a rap, aren't I? 16-year-old.
That makes me 70.
Oh yeah. So,
but then River performed well in Div 3, so
exactly.
River's
that was going to be mine. Was just the amount of young guys on the weekend that stood up in finals. As I said, River top scored in Division 3 for ISIS. Joel Faint 2 for 17. I actually, when I was doing a bit of commentary there on Saturday night, and you look through your brother's side, the amount of guys that were either under 16 or first year out with Jaden, Lockie, Ollie, Toby Lamont, you're like, there's a fair, that core group of kids that have come through. Sam Stutchbury played in Division 2. He did pretty well, got 30 odd at the end. So, there's just the depth. If we can keep these kids around Bundaberg cricket for the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be great. But as we know, uni and different reasons and things like that, you do lose them. But hopefully we can.
You'd like to see guys move on to a higher level.
Yeah.
We love to be selfish and keep them here, but you always want kids to be striving to go away and play at a better level. And, if it doesn't work, they can always come back. Everyone's had or most of the guys that we grew up with and played with have all gone and had a crack at, trying at high level, not just gone, I'm just going to stay in Bundy. So, I applaud the kids if they want to go and have a crack, go down to Brisbane, put yourself on the line. You might not play first grade, but third grade, so forth down there, still very competitive and be just as good for their cricket. So good luck to them all.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll just have a bit of a chat about the year in general, Matt. Overall, pretty happy. First year as president, how it's all panned out. We're pretty lucky with weather, I guess. We didn't have a lot of washouts.
Yeah, I think it was only 4, overall.
I think we missed, I think it was 3.
Oh, okay.
Sean
3.
and I were actually talking the other night, Sean Rose.
Yeah.
I think we missed 3 Saturdays and 3 games of Big Bash.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was pretty good for us, here. And, it was taking on the role first up, as we know, it was pretty daunting, like starting pretty much from scratch with a whole new executive committee. But we grounded out. We had a lot of help in the background from different people. To keep us going and giving us advice along the way. But, we took a few things on our own bat and just went with it. And, I think it all worked. Had lots of comments from different players and stuff over the weekend after the finals about how we ran the season and, hope things keep continuing the same way. So, I'm more than happy with how we went. Always learning, of course, and we'll learn for next year.
Yeah, I think you learn as you go, and Flemmer will reflect with the committee and tweak a few things. If he came here tonight and said everything was really great, I'm not going to change anything, I did it everything so well, he'd be kidding himself.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's got an opinion, but sometimes you need to have a forum where you might have a few people, like for example the T10 initiative with the last round of the Division 3. If the Div 3 boys like that, you could continue. I know that I was saying to Reese before, that single wicket tournament, you pull your name out of a hat. So if I drew out you, it's you versus I bowling over at you with all the fielders, you bowling over at me. Whoever wins goes to the next round. And by the end of the whatever rounds, you have the best. It's called single wicket tournament. So, whether you do it as a club or whether just everyone in the hat. So I might draw out Ryan Norton. I've got to go against him at 10 fielders. It's just a different concept. Might take a bit of organising, but if you're looking to tweak things, there's always something different that people have experienced from the many cricketers that we've had. So.
And we had some feedback from when we went out with the Goodchild side out to Mergen for the grand final, and noticing that a lot of guys, because we don't play with a lot of red ball anymore, about trying to maybe even try and bring a round of 2-day cricket in, which I'm very open to, being an older bloke who used to, loves his 2-day cricket. But it's a tweaking thing as well, and it's got to work in with everybody. I don't want to go out there and just sort of make a demand and say this is what we're doing. I want everyone to be a part of it, and the guys that are playing to still actually enjoy it. I mean, and that's the thing with 2-day cricket is you have to want to enjoy it. Like, you have to want to enjoy fielding. Unfortunately, you have to field. And you have to enjoy it, and somehow you've got to make it fun. And if it's telling jokes, if it's doing something out there to keep yourself going for 85, 90 overs, but for the benefit of our cricket going forward and these young kids coming through, really want them to learn how to graft out an innings and sit there and have to bowl 10 overs straight or be in the field for so long.
6 hours and
so they
overs.
can get used to playing high level cricket.
The longest cricket I think they play is probably 50 overs, the young fellas, and even going away with the schoolboys, open schoolboys, you're playing 20-20s, or I think it was 45 over cricket or 40 over cricket. So a lot of the young fellas don't know how to grind out an innings, because all we play is 45 overs. So it's a bit of a dinosaur, because when you go to the next level, I don't know what for seniors whether you're playing 2-day cricket, but if a lot of Div 1 people are on board, then throw it out there for the Div 1 boys. If they vote, well, let's have a round.
Oh, what glory.
Time out!
You are busy, but your foot pain is slowing you down. The experienced team at Hinkler Podiatry are passionate, outcome-driven, and use the latest treatments to get you back on your feet fast. Call Time Out on your foot pain with Hinkler Podiatry.
I did notice that Gympie are actually halfway through their grand final. It's a 2-day grand final, Saturdays.
And
Still in Gympie, they're playing 2-day cricket.
Pat and Bo Marshman have been going away for Valleys. I think they're playing Div 6 or 5, and they've started playing 2-day cricket. So I think one of them bowled 17 overs in one game. So it's only going to help their cricket too. So
I think they still do at South Burnett out there. They play 2-day cricket still. So I mean, we've had it chop and change over many years. We've had it originally for a long time, then it stopped. We brought it back in, and then it stopped. And it comes down to, the individual, not just taking it to heart that you've got a field, or you might not get a bat, or you might not get a bowl. Like that's the mentality of 2-day or Test cricket kind of thing. You've got to just get it through your head that this is what we've got to do, and somehow enjoy it.
Well, everybody will get a bat and a bowl the way we bat. 85 overs.
You will get 2 innings.
Get 2 bats,
So on the year, anything that stood out, any standout moments, any highlights in general?
Geez.
Big, obviously the Bulls Masters was a great success again. Big Bash.
That was good. The Big Bash, we got through. I think probably one of the big highlights was this for me personally as well, with the live streaming, the cricket show, and the work with these guys here that we've done is been tremendous. We've had viewers watching games. Okay, it probably takes a few bums off seats at the actual game, but to see so many people, and talking to the guys out at South Burnett that day, they will sit there and watch them. They watch the games on the weekends, and they watch the cricket show, because they're like, oh, how good's this? And I know at a high level, Queensland Cricket have been very proud of what we've done here as well. It's something that hasn't been really done. So,
and combine that with the Big Bash, like Casper was on and said, a lot of people are talking about, you guys do Big Bash. I know Chris Carroll's come up to us from Gold Coast, and his mates down there say, oh, we never played day-night cricket. And I didn't actually think that a lot of these blokes have never played day-night cricket, so we're probably spoilt and expect it. So things like that, where as Casper, we're leading the way in Queensland rural cricket, but you look at Gold Coast, they don't play day-night cricket either. So I think we're doing a lot of things right.
And a lot of blokes down there play cricket on concrete or gabba grass.
Yeah, so we are. And then juniors playing on turf. Well, they're pretty lucky.
I know we've had some talks with guys in Mackay about wanting to run their own Big Bash and trying to get insight from how we run the way ours are, so they can start working on doing their own thing as well. So, it's great to have people like that wanting to start their own thing and asking us for advice. So that's good.
The Bulls Masters signed on with Bundaberg Regional Council for another 3 years. So that's positive between all organisations.
Like it does benefit Bundaberg cricket a hell of a lot. A lot of work does go into it behind the scenes. It's not just a dinner and a game of cricket on the Saturday. Like there is a lot of work that goes into it. But very pleased to have it again. As we know, the benefits of that come back to our association, which helps us do what we do with maintenance and improvements of the facility. Helps
Being
with
able to play junior cricket on turf.
Yeah,
wickets and
junior on
day-night
turf.
games and the things we just mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. Especially running our lights to play Big Bash and play our day-night grand final. Like, I mean, if anyone had a complaint about the day-night grand final, I don't know where it come from, because I would have loved it as much as I can't see it. And in the night time, it would have been great. I never got to experience it when I played Div 1 cricket. So it's looking good. I think we might have to look at the way that it's set up and try and see if we need to do something different, or do we keep using the same concept. But that's something to discuss at a later date.
It's probably a fairly easy way to make 40 or 50 grand for your club too, isn't it? When you come down to monetary, but when you got Kasperwitz, Lynn and all these blokes coming to Bundy, a lot of people don't get it. So once again, we don't know how lucky we are. But in saying that, to make 40 grand or whatever we make out of a few days, a lot of work does go in, but a lot of people are going, wow, I wish we could have this opportunity. And obviously we're doing something right, because Jimmy Marr and the boys want to keep coming back. So 3 more years?
3 more years, yeah. There is a lot of, we are a designated target that other associations wanted to take our spot.
Yep.
And so we're lucky that the Bundaberg Regional Council and Jimmy Marr and the Bulls Masters have come back on board. So, looking for another big year next year.
Yep. Last one, off season. Anything in the pipeline? I know that there's been a few.
Baffle trip.
Not for yourself, but for around the grounds. I know there's a few things, a bit of tree clearing, and there's talk of maybe some new shade covering and things like that.
Looking at doing some a bit of improvements down at Kendall's around the toilet block there. Getting rid of the palm trees down there that make a bit of a mess, and they're a bit of a safety issue around there. So Regional Council have just given us permission to be able to get rid of them. So that'll be one of the main jobs, and then probably doing a bit of work on Field 7. Not sure how much we have to do at the moment, but I'll talk with Peter, the groundsman, and we'll have to spend a bit of time on there and maybe have to not use it right at the start again, but we'll see how we go. And then at Salters, just want to try and get the barbecue area done that we'd planned on for this year, but just with timing it didn't really work. Then get some shade up around the change rooms on both sides, concrete out, get rid of all the grass and concrete out there, and put some shade over the top so don't have to keep putting up those marquees and so forth. So a few things in the pipeline. And still a few more that we can work on anyway, and there's always things that we need to improve on. So,
I think all in all, it's been a pretty good year.
Yeah, well, I think you said we only missed 3 games. I can remember at under-16s with our team last season, I think we missed 5 or 6 before Christmas. Yep. So the weather's been pretty kind, to be fair, and to play finals in dry conditions, I think you'll take that.
Yep.
Considering after the rain we had that weekend, and on the Monday it was pretty wet. So to get
I think it's been a successful season all round, and probably a highlight for me, we've mentioned a lot of girls.
Yep.
The girls seem to be showing the boys. We mentioned Lockie Rogers and young Ryan Ballum. These kids love watching the show and go, hey, don't worry about me coming on the show this week, or mention me because I got nothing. Or, hey, I got 35 not out in FIFA. So it's good for the juniors like watching the show to see if they get a mention. So
and I like those 2 kids too that are always there on a Saturday, and even on Saturday afternoon. I asked them if they could go and pick the markers up on Field 2 and Field 3, and they were run as quick as they could to go and do it. There was no No,
Zupa
I'm
Dupas?
busy. Yeah, a couple of Zupa Dupas and a can of Coke. You know what I mean? But they just don't. They love it. You know,
Yeah.
and they always want to be around. They're always pleasant. They always say hello.
Yeah, they're good kids.
You know, yeah, they're good kids. So, you know.
Yeah, so having the girls, probably Harvey Bay and Maryborough being involved as well. Young Caelan Barr is a standout for me. Out of all the juniors, if I was giving the best junior from 12s to 16s, he'd be a standout for me. So he's a real gun. So it'd be interesting to see. You mentioned going to Brisbane. I reckon he'll be going to Brisbane if he keeps performing like he is. So it's
He
been
got
good to see that too.
many accolades at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Wide
and
Bay
South
Player
Burnett
of the
winning,
Year and things
South
like
Burnett winning the A grade, the good child. So as we're talking about a spreading the love a little bit for them to beat
Fraser Coast
Bundy.
won the 12s.
Yep, I heard all about the grand final when we went away for schoolboys. Tommy Curran and Roderick, they were just into us.
Okay.
Anyway, we got the videos of the celebrations, and I think someone went out there. Harry Sipple became a barber, and they've all got hair like you. So,
I know they
So-
did slip and slide on the covers after it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's good that South Burnett included, Harvey Bay, Maryborough. So we'll keep continuing those relationships with those different associations.
No, all good. All right, well, we're going to shoot to a break, and after the break, we better talk some cricket, I suppose. We'll cover everything on the grand finals from the weekend. We've got brothers Jeremy Hacksma joining us in the studio.
There's one name across our region that's synonymous with all things hospitality, Rum City Foods. And with more than 50 staff and 4,500 square metres under one roof, Rum City Foods stocks everything. They've got the lot. Paul's Milk, frozen products, packaged foods, dairy, bakery, drinks, chemicals, and all the hospitality packaging you need. Rum City Foods are a proud member of Countrywide Australasia. Find them at rumcityfoods.com.au or at their massive new premises on Commercial Street, Bundaberg.
Welcome back to the show. Okay, it's time to cover the weekend grand finals. We had 3 hotly contested games, all of which went down pretty well to the wire. Results could have went either way in just about all of them for most of the day. We'll start with Division 2 actually. Before we get going, we'll welcome our guest, Jeremy Hacksma.
Thank you. Thanks, fellas.
Good win.
You know, any win's a good win.
Yep. Celebrated hard and long.
Oh, no, we're fairly tame with half the team under 17. We got a few bowls of chips down and that was about it.
I think Ollie had a stomach ache from too many toasted sandwiches. The boys hoed into the sandwiches, yeah. So
Yeah, between breakfast and dinner.
Yeah.
That was basically all that was
a few
consumed.
carbs.
Yeah.
No, very good. We'll talk on Division 1 later, but we'll kick off with Division 3. Cross the Waves taking on YMCA. ATW winning the toss, electing to bat. Managing only 104. Probably wasn't quite enough, or obviously wasn't in the end, but Jakey Clyden out LBW first ball of the match.
Yeah.
It was a big loss. But yeah, they just didn't really recover from
Yeah,
there.
I think we were kind of had a bit of a breakfast and went home and just forgot about it actually and said, Ollie, flick on the My Cricket, and you know, there seemed to be a lot of wickets falling early and went, I wonder whether it's wet or what's going on. So in a couple of divisions, so yeah, Jakey Clyden out first ball, and I thought it was interesting that Thomas Chadwick opened the bowling. Is he still bowling his spin, do you know? Or because he used to bowl spin, so
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's bowling mediums now. I thought, that's a bit of a change up.
I think it was mediums because
Yeah.
I was watching a little bit of it,
Okay.
and I think they were mediums both ends. So
And Jolie Faint with his left armers. So as you mentioned before, like 2 for 17 is pretty good going from Joel. And, Brett Woodward, as usual, pretty consistent, 2 for 15 off 5 overs, I think. And in return, Lex Webster, 30 off 30, probably started the innings how they needed to, because chasing, you know, just a touch over 100, Cross the Waves boys would have been looking for, you know, 3 or 4 for 20 early doors. So Lex kind of being the classy player is 30 off 30, and then River 45 off 66 balls. But at one stage, I think when Brett Woodward got out, they needed 54 more runs.
Yep.
And I went, if they get River out, Waves will definitely win this final. So River dug in. I think Rich with Dad for a little bit.
Yeah, I think
Richmond
they did
went
back
in.
together,
So
yeah.
as you said, there was a few momentum shifts. And when Brett Woodward got out, I think the Waves boys are up and going and probably half confident. But River just dug in, and he's been a thorn in our side in Div 1, hasn't he, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think he got a couple of 50s on the trot against
Yep.
us every game. He kind of came in and steadied it a bit. But it's good to see a young kid come in under pressure and be able to hold an innings together a bit, even if they didn't get the results they wanted. You know, there's your future there. I believe he's
He's 16.
pretty handy in the field as well.
Yeah, and he bowls a bit of leg spin. So, talented cricketer, and they end up winning in 24 overs. But Cross the Waves had to obviously bowl them out. Didn't happen.
Yeah. I think they had a couple of early drop catches, the Waves boys as well, which
Oh,
wouldn't
did
have,
they?
which didn't go down too well. And I just think, they never really, like we said earlier, no one really wanted to dig in and bat 30 overs, you know, because they just all wanted to go out there and whack it around like normal, and they just really didn't dig in. And you know, I don't think it can't be anything to do with the track.
No, I think
I
the
don't
constant
think so.
flow of wickets and
Yeah.
I constantly seen. Is it Rubby that kept coming off with the
Yeah,
sore knee? I
Rubby
think he
had-
retired Hurd a couple of
Yeah,
times, didn't he?
He retired Hurd twice, and
Yeah.
then went to hospital after he batted.
Okay, didn't go
Yeah.
out and field. Yeah, he did. He looked
No.
like he was in pain.
Yeah.
But those two teams have been the top two teams all year, and I think it was the Talon Giles. I thought YMCA were going to go pretty well, but Waves
Waves
beat them
won.
in the Talon Giles, so bit of revenge for the YMCA boys. So I'm sure they were happy with themselves.
No, well done to those guys.
Hmm.
Division 2, Cross the Waves batted first again. Managed 8 for 163. They were pretty slow to get started. I think they were about 25 off 11 overs.
Which is okay in a final, Reece.
Well, which is, but they had to do a bit of catching up towards the end. And
Yeah.
Sean Stutchbury with 37 off 31, Josh Wormington 30 off 21, and Sam Stutchbury 29 out. And Daniel Unwin 34 off 84 sort of got him to that target.
He had to grind it out, didn't he? Yeah, and he always had Sean Stutchy come in and Warmington. They can whack the ball, so, you know, 25 off 11 overs, I wouldn't be too stressed. It's just the falling, you know, too many wickets were falling. But I heard they were 163. I thought they'll defend that. I didn't think Magpies, but Magpies obviously did pretty well, didn't they? And a shout out to Graham Werner, 2 for 25, and Will Barrett, 3 for 47. And I guess in return, the Pies, they probably saw Dan Unwin grinding it out, and Roderick Jensen got 28, and I think Will Barrett come out and blazed 37 off 20, 28, and Crossy 40, and Logan Woodward 28 not out at the end there. And as we mentioned, you know, catches, was he the one that caught Stutchy on the boundary and threw it back in? So,
James,
yeah, Sean was 37 off 31. If he kept going for another half hour, it could have been a different story. And noting Kynan Hard, 1 for 9 off 8 overs, 5 maidens. That's a pretty good.
pretty good return.
So they obviously showed him a lot of respect as batsman. And 2 for 100 is just a 2 for 100 chasing that. They were just steady. And they just kept batting and wanted to grind it out.
I think there was a drop catch first ball off Kynan too, off Roddy Jensen.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Ras dropped it at wicketkeeper.
Kynan
first
wouldn't have-
yeah, he
would've
wasn't
swallowed
happy.
that bit of pill pretty well.
You know, and that's what you needed to get that. You needed to get off to a good start, and then to
Yeah.
have drop catch first ball. You know, as we all know, just deflates.
Yeah,
you a
drop
little
catch
bit.
and then taking a screen with Logan. So
Yeah.
there's 2 wickets. That can change a game. So well done to the Magpies. They probably weren't
had a-
favourites, but they
they
did
had a
well.
big finish to the year. I think they won 6 of their last 7 to
Okay.
rise to 4th to finish in 2nd spot in
Yep.
the last round. And
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
the walkthrough in the grand final,
Yep.
but to put themselves in that position, and they're always going to be a dangerous side.
Yeah,
so
well, they did beat Waves in the last round, so
Yeah.
you know they might have had the wood on
Yeah, Laurie
the Waves.
McCloskey got a
boys.
few runs.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Probably a bit of experience, I think, in the grand final there. A few older blokes with Doc and Roderick Jensen and Graham Werner.
Yeah, Crossy.
Crossy,
Yeah.
So, you know, they probably got him over the line, having a bit of experience there.
I know Crossy with that 40 after it, he couldn't walk after he got out after that 40, so it was probably a bit for him.
He would have been numb by the end of the night, he'd be
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to Division 1. Brothers won the toss and elected to bat. 8 for 207. We'll throw to Jeremy, but you can chip
I
in
wanted
as
to
well,
throw to
David.
you. What do you reckon? 207?
I probably thought we let it slip.
Yep.
I think it was 100 odd with 15 overs to go. We spoke as a group. 5 and over from here, 175.
Yep.
Was probably our target.
Yep.
So we probably let, in my opinion, 30 slip. So, yeah, I think 207. Jeremy hitting a few at the end. I think the last 5 overs I got told went for 57.
Okay.
So that, you talk about momentum swings.
Yep.
And that 5 over period swung the
Yep.
game, I think.
Yeah, I think to get to 200 off the last 5 overs, we needed 10 and over. But I know that we scored 150 off the last 25 overs. So we went slow at the start, but then consolidated and ground it out, and 150 off the last 25 overs, 6 and over. And it probably the defining that the boys, as you said, well, you can tell us about hitting in the air and grinding out innings in a final.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been there?
Yep, exactly. I know back in my day, we had a final against you guys for West, and we started off and we thought, well, we're going all right here, and then, bang, 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 you lose wickets, and then you're not getting any runs, and then it just capitulates and momentum doesn't go your way. So I watched those last.
Look at that one there. That was probably the big momentum when Ryan Norton got out. It was about
And then-
Oh, look at this
and
catch
then
here. Look at this
Popey.
great catch.
And then Popey straight
Look at that bloke
away.
falling over.
Tripped on the line. But I think it's one of those things where that momentum, I watched those last couple of overs and sitting there just taking a bit of, and Jeremy come out, not as a noted batsman, but to hit 10 or 12 off the last over, gets his back up,
Yep.
and then look what happens, comes out, first ball, gets the big wicket of Lukey Owen.
Yep.
The momentum's all going the one way.
What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, it was definitely it was a good feeling in the huddle. After getting Lukey, we kind of know all year he's been fairly consistent, and Waves built a lot of their innings around the work that he does at the top, and he seems to, get to 40 chanceless, and it's when he accelerates is the only time we've been able to get him out this year. So removing him there, I think that was the moment that some of the boys, especially the young fellas, went, oh, hold up, maybe we've got a chance here. Like Waves coming off the back of, what did you score, 400 twice this season. So the power's in the shed when you've got a team capable of scoring 445 overs.
Yep.
You need a few things to go your way, especially when you consider how poor our fielding was behind square. We did pretty well to stay in it and pick up at the end.
Oh, what a delivery.
Your local Better are your appliance specialists. With everything from fridges and laundry to TVs, small appliances and much more. Plus, with a range of payment options available, you can buy now and pay later. Go local, that's better.
Who can you call upon when interest rates are rising or if your fixed rate is ending? The Refinanciers from Aussie. We'll make your home loan work harder. Let's talk.
And I think, as we're talking about a grinding innings, that's Luke Owen's role in that team.
Yep.
And losing him with no runs on the board, I think a few boys in the grandstand might have been deflated because they've been relying on Luke, and he bats long and deep, and I think that was a big turning point to get Luke.
And we all know, like with their batting lineup, if Luke's doing his role,
Yep.
the other guys can play their normal
That's
cricket
right.
games, and
Yeah.
Adam Poz and Nordo, Dozer to a little extent can play the normal games. But then with Luke going, no one else wanted to take that role,
No,
which
that's right.
someone needed to stand up and put his game on their bat and go, okay, I'm going to do the role now. And we can see, in the highlights, you can see the shots that, blokes were getting out on. It was not grand final cricket shots.
No, pretty loose.
Yeah.
Probably, before Christmas when the tracks were fairly hard, you could get away with that. But in a grand final, I think you're chasing 200 in a grand final. That's there's
I
another
know
red true
there's-
slips
yeah.
there.
mean,
It's
there was-
money in the bank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I would have said 180. I'll take that in a GFA. And to get 207, we thought if you get over 200, it's a bit of a mindset for the Waves boys, and we were quietly confident. But in saying that, our fielding in slips wasn't great. I think Nordo had a bit of luck. We dropped him a couple of times, and a few went in the air and in gaps. But that's the way Rhino bats. He got 53 or 54, and Hayden Pope 44 runs. And I guess when you got the class of someone like Dean Krebs, he got 1 for 29 off 8, and Arden got 4 for 24 off his overs near the end there. I think our bowling is our strength, and
Yeah.
to bat and get 200, we're pretty well set up for the game.
Yeah. I just when the guys batted in the middle, I think they were looking when Nordo and Popey were going. I think the momentum was probably changed, and
Absolutely.
they were only 4 for 130. With still 20 overs to go. Like they didn't 4 and over. Like you should get that any day of the week.
Yeah, I think
But
they
then
needed 48 off 12, and I blew on.
a couple of poor shots back
Yep.
to back.
Yep.
And
Losing
as
Nordo
we
and
just,
Popey
as you said
together.
earlier, Chris Duff can bat, but he needs to have a bit of arsenal around him as well.
Yep.
He's not going to be your guy that's going to whack sixes, but
No.
you didn't have to. You still,
No.
you could see you could hit it through gaps
No,
and run
yeah.
hard, and had the guy still there to do it, but they just
Well,
couldn't get it done.
I think going in at 30 overs, our boys were pretty deflated because we dropped Ryan a couple of times, and all the boys are really deflated. And someone give them a bit of a rev up and shut the door and said, "Hey, we're in this. If we get a wicket or two, we are back on top." And momentum shifts, as I think Mitchie Parsons mentioned in the interview. Getting Ryan out and then Popey, we're back on top.
Yep, very much.
But I thought we were gone for a little while, but you just got to stay there and be confident and back your bowlers like Jeremy and co to take a wicket, and it kind of happened pretty well for Brothers.
It was interesting going around the room at the end of the game. A few of the boys were talking, first grand final win. Lukey Solano said it's his first in 7 attempts to get a one-day grand final. And then all the young fellas. So I guess for many of them, they hadn't been in that situation. I think potentially just the two of us were the only ones who've been in successful grand finals. Obviously, this is my first with Brothers, but been in a couple at other clubs. But yeah, just they didn't have that. It's not over till the last ball's there, and that's where I guess David coming back this year into the squad has been really good, getting around those younger boys and getting a bit of starch in the side, I guess, getting that bit of you're not out of it that you don't really get in juniors, because juniors it's all just young fellas running around together having a good time, but once you get to senior cricket, anything can happen, and having that experience there.
Probably the last couple of years we've had a bit of a soft underbelly, like if the chips are down you just go, right, well, we're going to lose, aren't we? But you need a few older blokes, and Chris Carroll, 34, that's his first premiership ever. So he was good just to keep the boys motivated, because the young juniors, even Ollie and the couple of boys that come out of juniors last year, haven't had to grit their teeth too much. You're playing shorter games of 30-30s. This is a big game, and they probably don't realise that sometimes you get to your mid-30s and you haven't won a premiership. Did you win one?
It took me until I moved and West folded and went to Waves. It took me until I was probably 38, 39 to win an A-grade
10 years
premiership.
ago. So
only played in one grand final before then.
Yeah, so
in Div 1. So
Jeremy mentioned that the young fellas have just played their first final and they've won it, but you don't take it for granted. So next year they might feel a bit more part of a team, and I think we've got a good mixture of youth and experience. And as has across the Waves, Corey Pope's a big wicket. I was concerned about him. He batted quite well for schoolboys. And you've got a good mixture of juniors, and Duffy's been around a long time. So I think, there's good mixtures in both teams.
They're relatively still young too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Duff and Mitch we know we've played a long time with them since they were kids, but they're only 30.
Yeah.
They've still got, I think
They're both
you're the
retiring,
oldest.
aren't they? Surely.
I think you're the oldest.
Michael Dwight.
Doze a couple bit old, but I just wonder in that middle innings of Waves where the last year's grand final came back to in ahead of a few of them as well. They were in the same sort of situation and folded, and oh no, we can't let this happen again. We can't.
Yeah.
And then
you get a bit jittery.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know.
Finals are funny games, aren't
finals.
they? Anything can happen. So.
And I did say at the time that a couple of wickets would change it, and then it did. So congratulations to you guys. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm sure Waves will be back bigger and better next year.
As will Norths.
Yeah.
I think Brendan Hanley and co, unless they're going to have more babies.
And as will East.
Yeah, and Prendergast might be back, and I don't know what Nathan Van Ekeren might be back, not sure. So I think they'll be very keen to get back in the winners' circle also. So it all holds Div 1 in good stead for 4 strong competitive teams next year.
Yep. All right, well, we did a couple of interviews after the game. First of all, we caught up with the losing captain, Chris Duff.
Yeah, we sort of planned to bowl first like we eventually did. We did a pretty good job. Probably they got away from us at the end, so probably another 20 runs more than what we hoped for. We all said at the change of the break that was probably a 220 pitch. But yeah, coming out with the bat, we probably just lost a lot of wickets in clumps, which has been a case for us all year. So unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but well, you can't fault the way Brothers have played the last 3 months, so they fully deserved it.
Okay, so on your side, who were your standout players tonight?
Matt Posibon was our standout bowler. He's done it all year for us, leading wicket taker for us. He didn't do too much last year compared to this year's, so he's come along really well. And with the bat, probably Ryan Norton. He's showed the last 2 games why he's such a damaging player. Just unfortunately, he didn't come off with a big one today. He can get us the win.
Okay, so plans for next year's team lineup, is that in consideration yet, or you just play that later on?
Yeah, no, we don't sort of think about that until sort of maybe August sort of thing. We'll start thinking about that. It's just a bit of reflection now on the season we've had, a bit of a celebration tomorrow. The boys will keep in touch throughout the year. A lot of us play other winter sports together and that. So yeah, we'll just stay nice and close. And then yeah, come July, August, we'll get back into the swing of things.
Anything else you'd like to talk about here?
Probably actually a big shout out to David and Oliver Bogue. It's not too often you get to play first grade cricket with your son. I mean, I've played a lot of cricket against David in the years, and he's one of the better cricketers coming out of Bundy. And Ollie showed today that he's probably going to be up there in the next 10 or 15 years. I think David should be very, very proud of his boy.
Your foot's different, so your best shoe isn't the same as someone else's. Getting the right shoe makes all the difference. It means less pain, better movement, less fatigue and less injury. At FootMotion, our experienced and caring team use the latest technology to match your unique fit and movement to the right shoe. Whether it's for work, running, school or walking, we're here for the whole family. Don't compromise. Experience FootMotion today.
See Tagglevan's, your family-owned caravanning experts, for the popular New Age caravan range. Walkinshaw designed and engineered for superior strength and reliability. Start your adventures today with a New Age caravan from Dale and the team at Tacklevan's to Calvin Street, Bundaberg.
Waves Captain Chris Duff there. Spoke pretty well at a pretty tough time. 20 minutes after a grand final loss.
Yeah,
But,
I've actually seen a photo of him sitting on the fence by himself while the game was still going. It must have been just after he got out. So to come on and talk like that shows what a great guy he is, and he would have been absolutely distraught. And as you do when you lose an A-grade final as captain. So yeah, it was a few nice words there from Duffy, all class to be honest.
Yep. All right, on the other hand, we also caught up with our Brothers captain Mitch Parsons.
Yeah, look, I think if you're a spectator tonight and you weren't going for either side, I think you would have seen an awesome game of cricket. So credit to Waves for showing up today and making it a really good game, and credit to our boys for matching it with them. There were so many momentum shifts that happened throughout the game, and credit to our boys that in those momentum shifts we were able to stay on top.
Okay, so tell us about the game. Step, you guys got in and bowled first?
We batted first. Yeah. So we won the toss and batted on a wicket that we thought was going to come through quite true. When we started off a little bit shaky with 3 for not many, and the wicket probably stayed a bit lower than what we expected, so we kind of had to adjust our game plan around that. And credit to Ollie Bogue, who stood up with a classy 69 from a young fella who's in his first year of Div 1. So he's definitely coming to his stripes. So, and you know, a lot of other boys pitched in at the end there with Jeremy Harksma hitting a few bombs, and also, who else got runs? Oh, I got some runs too. Yeah, so I made 49 or so, but I was just trying to build a platform for the boys to launch off at the end, so did my job. And then
the actual standouts in your team tonight?
Definitely Ollie Bogue and Arden Lankowski, who got man of the match tonight. So Arden bowled out of his skin tonight and probably been under a bit of an injury cloud for most of the season, so it was good for him to come out in the last match of the game and put on an absolute clinic with the ball. So, yeah.
You had an old fella in there, Dave Bogue as well. How did Dave perform tonight? He took a good catch actually at one point.
Oh, he did. Look, Bogey is all class, and he's been a stalwart of Bundy cricket for years, and he'll continue to be as long as he keeps playing for Brothers. And he was no different tonight. He chipped in with the bat, and his talk around the group is just phenomenal and brings everyone up. So David Bogue's really important to our group and to our club. So we're very happy to have him.
Yeah, very happy captain there, and Mitch Parsons. Well done to him and the boys again. One thing we're just talking about there during then, Sam Pearson didn't play.
Sam who?
Yeah, well.
What did you do? Did you have a player that came back through Division 3 and worked his way up to get into A grade? Who was that?
Michael Loader.
Michael Loader. So we might adopt the same policy that you guys did. So you wouldn't change your winning side, Jeremy, would you?
Look, outside of retirements, I don't think there'd be anyone that you'd really leave out. But with so many young kids in there, there's a pretty bright future for Brothers moving forward, I think. And then you look at the young kids that missed out. Nick Clark took 5 for 2 weeks out from the finals and got dropped. So, there's young fellas that are just itching for a run, and kicking bat too. He opens the batting at 2s. And Dustin Colin, he was in the side at the start of the year as well. Never really found his place. Chris Carroll, as you mentioned earlier, he was 1s and 2s back and forward, really solidified his place in the 1 squad. So, and then Ollie, of course, he scored a few runs earlier in the year, but stood up at a good time. I think the thing that was really good about Ollie's innings is he did the work early, but then he recognised it was time to change gears. And you spoke earlier about the 70 odd runs in the last 10 overs. Well, he scored 50 of them, 40 of them at a pretty good pace. So the ability for a young kid who, he's not hitting 6s, but he's getting those 2s and 3s so consistently that he brought the run rate up without needing that power, and with a broken bat.
I think from watching on all year, of course, and seeing the transition of you guys, and not knowing your team, intimately in that, but when Chris came into your side, I think gave you that a guy that just didn't care what he actually did, just wanted to be part of the group, and he always was hitting balls or doing fielding training before the innings and stuff, and he was always on the scoreboard or on the score sheet. Just something that I think that was a good team man that you guys had, and like you said before about your little underbelly from previous years, I think that's what, you don't have to have a guy that's being the best guy on the field all the time. He's just someone that keeps you all together. And I think that's what really helped.
Yeah, and a lot of training sessions too. Like if, obviously on a Wednesday night, some of us don't go to training, but he'd go, if you ever want to have a bat, I'm happy to bowl any time, any day. So he's probably gelled the boys together. So interesting. And as you said, I think I was looking at the highlights. Mitchell Parsons was he was going really slow. He was 8 off 40 balls or something, 8 off 39 balls, and Ollie was slow. But obviously Mitchie gave Ollie some good advice, and they started ticking it along. And I think that's probably where Wave's downfall. No one looked like they wanted to face 20 balls to get 2 runs, which I think Mitch and Ollie 2 off 20. If you get to 2 off 20, some of them want to play the big shot and didn't come off. So But
as you say always at training, you hit 40 balls in the nets or 60 balls in the nets, you're still not hitting it very good all the time, are you? So you've got to get out there and face balls.
Yeah, you've got to grit it out.
Grit it out. Run a quick single. Run, get yourself off strike. Nick the one down to third man just to, get yourself going. So, yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up the season of cricket. We're going to have a quick break, and after the break, it's David Bogue's Talon Medal preview.
Oh, okay.
Right, we're out of the break.
Oh, what a delivery.
Time out! You are busy, but your foot pain is slowing you down. The experienced team at Hinkler Podiatry are passionate, outcome-driven, and use the latest treatments to get you back on your feet fast. Call Time Out on your foot pain with Hinkler Podiatry.
What a delivery.
Hello, welcome back to the show. It's time to talk the upcoming awards night, where the prestigious Don Talon Medal will be presented. You've been lucky enough to win a few of these over the years.
Yeah, so I've won 7 actually. I've shared a few though. I think I shared with Mick Warden and Callum Stitt one year. But I remember bless his soul, Richie Giles came over and he wanted a copy of this because we'd run out of Don Talon medals. So that's actually, he tells me it was worth $150 and you can feel the weight in it.
Well,
Do you want to touch it?
Can I tell you they're worth $250
They're
now?
$250 now.
Gold's gone up.
Yeah, so
2015, this must have been pre-semi-retirement.
yeah, I don't know. So
One of them.
I googled Don Talon today, and he, in Don Bradman's testimonial game in Sydney or Melbourne, he got 140 odd runs. So he's going all right for a wicket keeper. His nickname at the end was Deffy. In one of the last games, his captain said, "Go out and play for the light, go for the light," and he thought he said, "Go for the lash." So Don Talon's gone out there and gone hard and nicked off, and the captain said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You told me to go for the lash." He said, "Go for the light." So I don't know whether that's all true, but on Wikipedia, you've got to believe everything you read. But I think how does Matty Parker fit into the frame with Chris and the relations to Don?
Grandson.
Hey,
So Kathy is Don's daughter.
Yeah, so it's a prestigious award and great for Bundaberg. I think we've got the Talon Bridge and the Talon Medal, and going through the Div 1 boys, I just went through each round by round, and it's like splitting hairs, isn't it? Like you got Mitchy Parsons. I was surprised. I thought he would have been a long way ahead, but I think the first 4 or 5 games he didn't do too much, and then at the end of the season he didn't do a heck of a lot. Sam Pearson came home hard. Yep. Luke Solano's been consistent all the way through, as has Luke Owen. So I had them all 13, 12, 11 points. So it depends. I'm not an umpire. I don't award points, but I think on the night it's going to be a very close.
Lockie Donovan was leading wicket taker.
Lockie Donovan, Posey.
Probably didn't win enough game. Matthew Posey.
No, and I think you've got to look at the context of the game. I think Luke got 61 game, whereas Posey got 150. So Luke won't get the 3 points there. He'll get 2 or 1. So you've got to share the love a bit with your teammates.
There's a lot of fifers in the bowlers. So there's going to be a lot of bowlers poll this year. I think more because there was. I think there was. Jerry got. I think there was 10 in Division 1. So. There was 25 overall across all 3 divisions.
Okay.
And I think there was 10 in Division 1. So usually in those 10, you'd probably think that most of the guys will get the 3 votes, unless someone's gone out and got 160 or 150. So it's going to be, very different how the umpires choose.
Should be very, very close.
Yeah,
it's going to be, especially with 4 blokes really close.
It's going to be a good night.
Looked at Div 2.
Yep.
I don't know. Throw some names at me. What do you reckon?
Brody Coates had a good start to the year.
Yes, he did.
But probably dropped off.
Yep.
But he might get a few. Daniel Unwin was the leading wicket taker.
Run scorer.
Run scorer. Must be. It's been a long year. Julian Bond. Was up there in the runs. Johnny Ballum. Doesn't really miss too many games of cricket.
No.
So.
Artie Richardson was leading wicket taker.
Yeah, but Artie played a bit of Division 1
at the start.
Okay. Yeah, could be a hotly contested one as well. And Div 3, well, I don't know. I got Lex Webster, Brett Woodward, Neil Trebeen, they're all mature gentlemen, and I've thrown DePappy in there as well.
As a mature gentleman.
Yeah. Neither. But he obviously got some runs. He got the 90 odd. So just looking at the stats and the champion player, there's 4 blokes there. So Div 3 to have 3 of those blokes who are all over. Lex is well over 40, isn't he? Yeah. And you got Neil Trebeen, who's older than me, I think. Yeah. So, and Brady Woodward, pretty consistent. So could be pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he played a couple of games of first grade, and I think he missed a few weeks in there. But he's consistent every week, isn't he? He's a top bloke to have in that side. Him and Lex and Richmond, with all them young kids they got coming through, they just complement each other very well.
If you battle bowl, it's a bit to your advantage as well. If you go out, open bat, nick off, well, you're not going to. What do you reckon, Jeremy?
Oh, it's a batsman's game, really, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go.
Bet Tomo got some help at this.
There weren't that many runs after Christmas, were there? We had a few hundreds before, but after Christmas, I don't know. I think there was.
I don't think there was any after Christmas.
Mitchy Parsons got 100 bet first or second game after Christmas.
Okay.
That might have been about
that was in the final,
in that
Talon Giles
early
on.
So it would have been too.
I think it's a bowler's game. Don't listen to him. So the awards night, we got 6 from each team. We got 6 tickets for every team. So brothers will be taking 18, and you guys will be taking 18 to to the Rowers Club, isn't it?
Yep. Rowers Club this year. Decided to do, change the way that things have been done a little bit, and we sat down at the start, me and Reese, one night after a rain out, actually on a Friday night. We sat there for another hour and contemplated what we're going to do, and we said, let's change it up a little bit. Let's reward the guys that have been playing, as well. Not just, the guys have put a lot of effort in all year. You train, you play all weekend, so forth. Let's reward them and have a proper dinner. Let's sit down, have a slideshow presentation night. Get the right people there to give away the awards. We'll have Kathy Parker, Don's daughter, there to deliver the award this year. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be good. Everything's sort of coming to plan. Got you two blokes running the night on the microphone, so should be exciting.
Okay, we'll have to see how we go.
Keep me out of it as much as you can.
I doubt it. Not now. Jeremy will get a mention too. He's very popular for hitting sixes and getting the rangefinder out, and we do a prediction of how many metres, so he might come into a few jokes as well.
Yeah,
so
righto.
It should be a good night. Looking forward to it.
Typical bogey.
No, that's what I do. We want it to have fun, and we want everyone to enjoy themselves. And I suppose, and the other thing, it lets the committee, myself and Ange and Reese, to just be able to have a night instead of have to worry about running the facility, cooking barbecues, so forth like that. And and Anthony, all his work, Brett Muller, all his work during the year gives us a chance just to relax, sit down, enjoy our night, and reward the
Going back to the
guys.
good old days when Paul Cochran used to, do the round by rounds like the AB medal night. It was really professionally done, so we're going back that way.
Ours is more kind of set up like the Brownlow night, so, but, you'll have to do 1 vote, 3 votes.
Okay, we'll work it out.
We'll manage.
We'll get together.
You'll be right.
All right, well, that's about all we got time for tonight. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Well done on the year, Matt. Congratulations to you guys again, Jeremy.
Thank you.
I guess in general for the year, we've just got to thank all the guests that we had, especially the players that came into the studio and the guys that did segments and 60 seconds and interviews and stuff like that. I think everybody that we asked along the way, nobody genuinely said no. That they didn't want to. To the special guests that we had, Jack Sinfield, Michael Kasprowicz, Lucy Hamilton, Nathan Reardon, for those guys to give us some time. To all the sponsors on the boards behind us, the show wouldn't have happened without yous. To Phil, Huey, Rob, Josh, Jane and the rest of the team from Wide Bay ITV for making this happen. It's been great. To you on my left, thanks very much.
Been a pleasure.
We weren't sure how.
Who would have thought us two together, hey?
Yes. No, it's been a pleasure. We've had a lot of fun and we have enjoyed doing it. And whether we get asked again or not.
I think you've done a good job, mate. Well done. And
thank you.
You've done well.
Good job, boys.
We'll see how we go. He might have a career in the media, hey? I'm a bit old, so we'll see how we go. Maybe next year.
All right, well, that's all we got time for. And, we can't say get out and support your team, but enjoy the off-season and bye for now.
Oh, what?